Right, welcome back guys, and we've been very fortunate to be allowed up in the tower, the control tower of Bodmin Airport. So let's have a scan around. Obviously you need a very good view for the job that's done up here. Yeah, lovely and very interesting in what's been told, but we'll go into that later on. So we're going to go down into the hangars now, so let's get on with that one. Right, well, welcome back. We're back at the hangar now, as we can see. What we have, a very special little plane here for you, which my friend here Pete will now explain what it is, and it's just blown me away. It's actually basically a wooden, almost a wooden chassis at the back with a covering. So like I said, I know nothing, I'm not anything to do with planes, so we'll let Pete explain what she is, how old she is, and everything about it. So on to you, Pete.
Hi, this is an Aeronca Chief, which was built in October 1946. It's got a 65 horsepower engine underneath this. The reason the cover's on here is the propellers are very expensive and we like to make sure we look after them. But the construction of it is a tubular metal frame, and then on that is wooden formers, the same way as if you were making a model aircraft years ago, and then there's wooden stringers. Then once all the wood's on, then you cover it. The covering's been done.
Should we go back and have a look?
Yes, let's have a look. So these long ones here are called stringers, and they're mounted on formers, which are every so many inches up, and that again is on a supportive sort of triangular steel framework. And this here again is metal. It's all part of the framework, and the whole thing is fabric covered, and it's missing the rudder at the moment because I'm doing some maintenance on the rudder, and these stainless steel struts here are just to keep the whole thing stable when you're operating it. The wings consist of two spars either side, a forward and a rear one, which are made of spruce, and then they've got aluminium ribs, and these aluminium ribs are actually screwed onto them, and then there's a whole line of cables and tubes inside to keep the wing rigid and stiff. The fabric covering again is part of it, which keeps the whole thing together.
How did you get the fabric so tight?
Well, you get it on first of all, and then believe it or not, you use an iron or something similar to an iron to heat it, and it's almost shrinks on. Now originally this would have had Irish linen on it, but in more modern days we use, well, this was used Seconite, but there are one or two other coverings as well. And the important issue about it is to get it on tight and rigid as it is there, and then it doesn't flap around, and it produces a perfect aerofoil. And then you the various coats of dope on there, and then you put the final coats of paint on. And then when it's done, it looks something like this.
So can we have a look at the controls?
Of course you can. So the door opens, and inside,
wow, look at that.
To be honest with you, it looks a bit like a Morris Minor, doesn't it?
So it's even got twin controls.
Yeah. So you've only got brakes on one side, which is the left-hand side. You always fly an aeroplane from the left, and you fly a helicopter from the right.
So what's the reason for being left?
Well, that started some time ago, and to be honest with you, I don't know why it has remained on that. Yeah. Because myself, I can fly it from left or right, because I often do when I'm checking somebody out. But it's traditional that everybody flies on the left. I mean, in tandem aircraft, like we also have in here, normally the pupil goes in the front and the instructor goes at the back. But this aeroplane, say, 1946, it first flew on the 19th of October 1946 for 25 minutes from Middletown, Ohio, in America, and the man's name was G.A. Griggs. Yeah, amazing.
So obviously I come from a car mechanical background. I'm guessing these are air cooled.
They are, in fact, the engine itself. I'll get a screwdriver and I'll show you that.
Yeah, love to.
Same as you get on classic cars, etc. Whoops. Now, this engine,
That's a boxer engine.
it's 65 horse, horizontally opposed, and this is the it hasn't been rebuilt that long ago, but it was designed. Its original design, the Continental tractor in America in the late 30s, early 40s. Continental tractors and combine harvesters, etc. So it's an agricultural engine that's been converted and now used for aircraft. It's a very common engine to be used, and this is only a 65 horsepower, but you can obviously get bigger ones than that as well.
So why would it need rebuilding regularly?
Well, because like anything, especially the engines, about 2,500 hours approximately,
Yeah.
Things start to wear out. It's all on condition.
Right.
And when we look at it and we find that, for instance, when we're changing the oil, and if we find little bits of metal in there, we know the bearings will obviously be wearing. So that's the time to have a look, take the cylinders off, check to see what they're like, and if they're below limits, then we take the engine out and we completely rebuild it and start again.
So is it like a Volkswagen Beetle where each head is individual to each other, so you can remove a head at a time?
It is. In fact, I used to fly an aeroplane with a VW engine on.
Oh, really?
An aerobatic little motor glider, and it's exactly the same principle.
Right.
Yeah.
So very easily to service, very easy to break down.
Yeah.
Just gaskets, basically, gaskets. And
It is. I mean, this particular engine itself here. I mean, I over there, I have a whole host of spares, including crankcases,
right.
all sorts of things. And because of the age and the rarity of them now, it's a good thing if you see anything around to collect them,
really?
Because you might need them. You hope you don't, but at least you've got them if you do.
Yeah. Well, a very, very interesting man. Now, I think what we'll do is we've had permission to actually have a look around the rest of the planes in this hangar, so let's go and have a look, see what we can see. So now this is an Aeronca as well, apparently, so you can tell it's got the covering. See, that's got a tandem seat front and back rather than next to each other. Yeah. There's a little one, tiny. There's a little wooden propeller. Wow, this one looks a bit more special. So you've got the tape and the paint to make sure that nothing's moved once it's been put on. Looks like that's had some engine work. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty awesome actually. Right, let's go see what else we can find.